So, thank you for being here on the occasion of the 23rd Party Congress of the CPIM. And yesterday in the press conference, General Secretary Comrade Sitaram Yechuri had given you the main points about our political resolution, which was placed yesterday. Yesterday and today, there was a discussion, as is the tradition in our party. All delegates have an opportunity through their state representatives to voice their opinions on the political resolution of the party. I think perhaps the CPIM, following the traditions of party organization, has the most democratic procedure of coming to a conclusion about our assessment of the political situation and the political line, the tasks, the priorities that the party adopts for the coming 3 years. As you all know, the party congress in our constitution is the highest body in the party which decides the political line. So, in the discussions on the political resolution, I think it was 48 delegates representing the states of India who spoke on the resolution. It was a very enriching discussion, and I think, yesterday you were told that there were some 4,001 amendments which had come in the pre-Congress period. And here, during the party Congress, the delegates also have the right to move amendments. And a total of 390 amendments and 12 suggestions of how to strengthen the report further were made today. So the discussion on the political resolution has concluded. Now we will meet in the steering committee. We will discuss the various points which have come up. These will be summed up by the General Secretary in the afternoon session, and hope that with the kind of strong determination and resolve to meet the current challenges that were expressed by the delegates today, we are confident that with the adoption of the political resolution, the CPIM will move forward, onwards, with greater strength and a strong unity on the line that we have to adopt in the coming days. In today's discussion, there were also several women delegates who participated in the discussion. There were several delegates who raised very important matters concerning social oppression under the Hindutva regime. So there were three aspects which were highlighted in on the basis of the political resolution. One, the main danger of the BJP and the RSS to the very constitutional framework of what we understand that India is today, on the basis of our freedom struggle, on the basis of the sacrifices of the people of India. That today is under threat. So that was a very major aspect of the discussions today, in which many delegates gave experiences of their own states as to how the BJP RSS is subverting democracy, secularism, various aspects of social exploitation, and of course the huge attack on the minorities of India. So this was one area of discussion. The other aspects which were taken up by our delegates, strengthening the political resolution, was the huge struggles which have been fought in the last 3 years, primarily Kisan movement, the workers' movement, the huge struggles of student and youth, of women, of socially oppressed sections, and the importance which was enunciated in our political resolution, the way to fight the BJP and the RSS, the resolve to fight the BJP and the RSS, requires a combination of multiple forums and the thrust being the fight against the neoliberal policies and the fight against the Hindutva corporate regime. So it was, as I have said, it was a very enriching discussion, and we hope that after this party congress, we will go forward with even more energy and a renewed vigor to take on these challenges. In the evening session, after the reply of the General Secretary and the adoption of the political resolution, with all the amendments which may or may not be accepted by the steering committee, then the political organizational report will be placed on behalf of the Politburo by Comrade Prakash Karat. So this is what I had to say to you, and if you have any questions, I think we've already circulated some of the details of the speakers and so on. As you know, the discussions in the delegate session are within the delegate session, but we do give the names of those who spoke, which we have provided to you. The amendments are basically to strengthen the political resolution with very many more details. For example, how the BJP RSS is attacking in various states, what are the kind of attacks that Adivasis have faced in different states, Dalits have faced about women. So basically the approach of the delegates has been how to further strengthen the main formulations in the resolution. So I can't go into all the details of the amendments. We are studying them, and now once it is done, you will see the list of amendments which have been accepted. The political line has been very clearly enunciated in here's the political resolution. There's a special section, just to make it easier, especially for our media friends. There's a special section which is called political line. So all the points which are there are what were being discussed in the party congress. No, once the political resolution is adopted, we go with that understanding and line. No, do you have any confusion about that? You think we have a political resolution with a political line and then there's something else? No, there's nothing like that in our party.
There is a confusion regarding cooperating with Congress. What will be the party's approach towards Congress?
May I ask you?
Will there be any change in party's attitude towards Congress?
I don't know where the confusion is. Maybe, I don't know whether the confusion is with you or with our other friends here. As far as the party is concerned, we are very clear about our political line. Our main focus is against the BJP and the RSS. Our main focus, and it must be, not just for the CPIM, but every patriotic citizen in India, the prime task is to isolate and defeat this toxic force which wants to destroy the social fabric of our country. So that is the primary aim. For that, we have given a program, various issues, and all those who are willing to come with us on those issues, whether they belong to a political party, whether they belong to a social movement, whether they belong to NGOs, whether they are public intellectuals, whether they are students on campuses, we extend our cooperation to all those forces who want to fight this grave danger to India.
That struggle to defeat BJP, will the party join hands with Congress? That's my question.
Now, I'm afraid what I have answered, I think, is clear enough. You want to reduce it to the electoral tactics of the party. As far as the electoral tactics of the party are concerned, there is one sentence, point number 10 in the political resolution, which I would request you to read. Our understanding is that the most important aspect is to maximize the votes against the BJP at the time of elections. Now, how that plays out in the different states, because as we all know in India, the configuration of political forces is quite different from state to state, but the major aim is to maximize the votes against the BJP, and at the time of elections, we will decide according to that understanding.
Comrade, could you elaborate the combination of multiple fora?
Sorry?
Could you elaborate the combination of multiple fora? Because already you mentioned in the DPR, draft political resolution,
What's happening is this, the noise of this fan, it's making it difficult to hear. Can you?
now you have, it's okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry. Could you elaborate the combination of multiple fora? It is already mentioned in the brief.
So, you know, in India today, in different states, there are so many forces and there are so many platforms who are working on separate issues. For example, in the Kisan struggle, we found more than 500 Kisan organizations from different areas who were working together on the issue of the 3 lakh farm loans. So they had formed a platform, the party had supported that platform. So on many issues like that, there are forums, those who fight for democracy, those who fight for civil liberties, the Adivasi platforms, the Dalit platforms. So our understanding of mobilization of all these social forces, I would like to stress, it goes beyond the pale of just political parties. Beyond that, there is a vast section of the Indian population who are resisting in so many different ways. For example, if you look at the anti-CAA movement, according to our political resolution and assessment, the anti-CAA movement was the first big mass movement which challenged the BJP RSS agenda of changing the very identity and definition of citizenship in India. So it was a vast mass movement. There were so many fora which had been formed. And leading that whole movement were Muslim women. It was a spontaneous mobilization. But there were so many platforms which had been formed. So the CPIM supports such struggles, such platforms on the various issues which come up. So our point in this whole political debate and resolution is, what are the ways in which we mobilize the maximum number of people who are directly affected in one way or another by the policies of the BJP RSS? How do we reach out to these sections? How do we take our political message to these sections? That is the challenge which is facing the CPIM and, if I may say so, the left parties and the left movement today. So that is what our approach is. We have to strengthen our own party. We have to strengthen our own identity. We have to strengthen the identity of the red flag. We strengthen the identity of our alternative approach. And if you look at our political resolution, there's a whole section which gives you some of the areas in which we have an alternative approach to other parties. And that is what we have to take before the people in different ways. So I would say, I won't say this is something new which is being said by the party, but certainly in the current situation, I think it is this message which is an inspiring message to the party as to how, with our own ideological basis and our political understanding, the tremendous sacrifices that our comrades have made in so many states. And I would like to add specifically that in the entire discussion, a recurring theme has been the model of Kerala in so many important areas and how we should take the experience of the Kerala LDF and the Kerala LDF government's policies to the rest of the country. And this is a very important aspect which will further strengthen the identity of the CPIM and the Red Flag.
But comrade, what is the reason for the...
Can we ask somebody else to...
Just one question, comrade. What is the reason for the disastrous setback in the Indian politics? Is there any kind of...
Well, certainly we cannot get away from the setbacks that we have faced, but that is not part of the political resolution. That is discussed in detail in the political organization report, which will be placed before the delegates today. There will be a discussion on it. And I'm sure once we reach certain conclusions about this, we will come to you.
Madam Brunda, Mrs. Brunda, the scattered opposition bloc is a major gain for Modi and the beneficiary is BJP. What is the chance and possibility of a unified anti-BJP bloc in that? In the left-initiated process, what will be the position of Mamata Banerjee and Shiv Sena like opposition parties in that?
No, I understand that these are issues which are very important and relevant for you to ask. But as far as I am concerned, I have answered that question with one line, that as far as elections are concerned, we have not gone into any details in this political resolution. Our aim is very clear, which I have spoken about a little while ago, and the maximization of votes against the BJP. That is our effort. How that works out, who is going to be at that time of election, is something for that point. Right now, unlike many other parties, the communists believe in taking up the issues of the suffering of the people now, today, right now, what is happening to the people of India. Are we going to be waiting for some election and some people to come together and do this today? What is our task today? Our task today, as I have said, is to go among the people, to mobilize as many sections, social sections, think beyond political parties, social sections, to come out against this toxic regime. That is our focus right now. And that is what we are concentrating on. The importance of strengthening the party, the importance of, after all, communists are, we can't exist without our links with the people. So that is the main focus right now.
Comrade, we heard this type of slogans every type of actions. But as you know that the strong beat in the center, BJP is very strong in the center. Without a good alliance, how you face the election of...
Now, एक कहावत है ना हिंदी में, यहाँ से पकड़ो उधर से पकड़ो एक ही कान है. So point is this, you are limiting this entire thing to what is going to happen in the elections. I can understand. Those are very important questions. Today we are in 2022 April. This political resolution is for the next 3 years. There are a number of tasks which we have drawn out. So, among those tasks, one is what is going to be our approach during elections. When that happens, definitely you will know how we go about it. But right now, the importance that I would like you also to appreciate is that this is a battle of minds also, not just of votes. What is happening today? What happened in Uttar Pradesh? Where a priest with 4 policemen sitting on his car as his protectors, he gives a call openly, according to the reports, that he will sexually assault Muslim women. And people are cheering that. Can we tolerate such a thing happening in India? That is what we are concerned about. Who will come out to fight that? Yes, we will be there. The red flag will be there. And whoever else comes out to fight that, yes, please come. We are prepared. On all these issues, whoever comes, political or NGO or social movement, that is our approach. And that is a basic issue.
Comrade. Hello, comrade.
Huh? Batao?
Uh,
Oh, sorry. He was speaking.
BJP has been adopting a policy of anti-democratic, ignoring people's protests in the crucial issues and democratic sentiment. So what do you think that how CPM could organize protests which alter the policies of or resist the policies of BJP government?
I think that's a very relevant question. And that is one of the issues which is being discussed very seriously as part of the political resolution. And I think it will be taken even further when we discuss the organizational issues and gaps which may be there. So there are various areas where right now since 2019, in spite of COVID, there have been so many struggles which have taken place, and we have seen the impact of those struggles also in forcing the BJP to reverse some of its policies. But it is no doubt on the offensive, and that offensive can only be met by a counter mobilization on people's issues, on issues of secularism, because we cannot compromise on any of these things. That is a very critical area of our work. So how far we succeed in this attempt of reaching out to new sections of people, I think that is a very big challenge before us. But I think the entire party congress and the body of delegates, they are resolved that the importance of strengthening our party base, our politics, our identity, our alternative vision for India, that is a very important aspect.
Comrade, you highlighted the fact that the participation of women delegates in the discussions, and you also mentioned that we spoke about the kind of oppression women face in this country. You know, in that context, and you being one of the stalwarts of the women's movement in this country, what is your position on gender justice when it comes to places of worship?
Gender justice?
When it comes to places of worship?
As far as places of worship and gender justice is concerned, I think it is very important. Already we have seen what happened in the Sabarimala case. We have seen what happened in the case of so many of the masjids. I think our party's position on this has been very clear, that this is something which has to be resolved through discussion and debate. The Supreme Court came to a conclusion, and it had said that as far as the Sabarimala issue is concerned, the right of women to go into the temple, the Supreme Court upheld that right, and the Kerala government made it very clear that in that case we were upholding what the Supreme Court had said and implemented it. It was not the CPIM which had gone to the court. So on such issues where there are different types of sentiment which are involved, it is very, very important to discuss these issues so that the rights of women, the legitimate rights of women, worshippers, women believers, I'm not talking about other public spaces where it is constitutionally guaranteed, but I'm talking about places of worship which are normally reserved for believers. So I think already what the Kerala government had said at the time, that we would like a dialogue, we would like a debate, because the constitutional position is very clear and no places are outside the pale of gender justice and gender equality. But I would also like to add that these are not issues which have been discussed in the political resolution, and they have not either been raised in the discussion by any delegate. So what you have asked is actually outside the pale of the discussion of the political resolution. But since, Jomi, you are an old friend and you know what the political understanding of the party has been, I answered your question.
No, I'm happy that you mentioned Sabrimala. The point is that the party, and in the CC review of the election also, you clarified that Sabrimala cost you, losing votes. The party lost votes on that. The point is that now that there is no stay on the Supreme Court judgment, and can gender justice wait for the courts to decide, the court to settle that matter for, finally, until that, can we wait?
Jomi, I cannot go into that discussion right now. Today we are talking about the political resolution. We are talking about the issues which were raised as part of the discussion on the political resolution. Certainly at some other time, generally, how do communists take forward the issue of gender justice, where there are so many complications and different trends? What are the problems that we face in taking it forward? I think that's a very important point of discussion, which we can certainly have at any time that you would like. But right now, we are focused on the political resolution. And right now, what the women delegates from all the states had focused on was the absolute barbarity, the barbaric nature of the assault on women. And particularly on poorer sections of women. I mean, the barbaric nature of it. I mean, can you imagine a priest giving a call that if so, such and such happens, I personally will go and sexually assault a particular community's women? This is what is happening in India. And this is what we want, a much bigger democratic movement for the party also to take up these issues in a very strong and powerful way.
Comrade, one question. After seeing the Prime Minister of India,
I beg your pardon?
after visiting the Prime Minister of India, the Chief Minister of Kerala said that even if the result of the social impact study against the project of Sewer Line, the government is determined to implement the same. But at the same time, General Secretary Sitaram Yechuri saying that we have to wait until the study ends.
Please understand, there is no difference in the party whatsoever on the projects for development which are being taken by the Kerala government. There is absolutely no difference in the party. Let's be very, very clear about that. Absolutely none. There's no difference in what was said either. But the question here is, which I want to place before you, you know that the environment impact assessment is a thorn in the flesh of every corporate. You know that now. You know that the first law which Modi tried to, Narendra Modi ji, the Prime Minister of India, tried to bring in the Lok Sabha, was to remove that entire section of environment impact assessment from the Land Acquisition Relief and Rehabilitation Act. You know that now. Today in India, there are at least 8 BJP governments who have illegally, I would say illegal, because this is a central act, but they have, using their majorities in the state assemblies, they have removed that whole environment impact assessment. So today, for example, in many of the states where the BJP rules, they'll take over land of Adivasis, they'll take over projects, they'll impose projects, but there's no environmental impact assessment. Kerala government has said, we want to have an environmental impact assessment as per the law. The Kerala government, the Chief Minister of Kerala, is going through the due process. He has gone and met the Prime Minister. He has said this is a joint project. You please come out and say what is to be done and not done. Give us whatever requirements are there, we will do. I want to tell you one thing very, very clearly. As far as the people's interests are concerned, the Kerala government has made it clear in the Navam Kerala document that all the issues which are being raised by people, the legitimate concerns of people in Kerala will 100% be addressed. There is absolutely no idhar udhar agar magar about that. If you kindly read from a Thomas Isaacs piece which is there on the website of the Central CPIM, when all these arguments are given, which I will not go into now, but all the arguments are given, you kindly see those arguments. And a very important paragraph in that is, we are committed to address the concerns of the people. Please, don't fall into someone else's political framework and trap. Don't do that. Don't do
Since
that.
you mentioned environment impact assessment, I remember the letter you yourself wrote to the Environment Minister in 2020 regarding the amendment, and you highlighted one or two, I think, apart from the mining issue, you talked about the way consultants are appointed, by the project proponents, number one. And number two, and you underlined the importance of public hearing when it comes to projects and the way when the report is prepared. Will the party make sure that, the kind of concerns you have highlighted and the party's position on environment assessment will be followed?
Yomi, there is no difference in anything. Whatever the law is, we have not done away with EIA. Please understand, the Kerala government has not gone to the central government like so many other state governments. Please, we don't want EIA. That is what they have done in Gujarat. Today they are talking about Gujarat model. There's no EIA in Gujarat. Nothing is there. Now when Adivasis mobilize, because they know they are wrong, they know what they are doing is not for Adivasis, it's for corporates. They have a guilty mind. So they have stepped back, they've run away. That is not the case here. The case here is a genuine concern of how to build a qualitatively higher level of quality of life of Keralites. Now, I say there can be so many differences on so many things. But if you start from the aspect that everything you're doing is wrong and everything that he is doing in Gujarat or Chhattisgarh or Rajasthan is right, well, I'm afraid we have to say this is very, it's not in the interest of Kerala. But the point that was raised, please let me assure you, as far as this is concerned, the LDF government of Kerala is committed to protect the interests of people. They will always take into account the voice of the people, and it is on the basis of that again and again the government has given assurances. But if opposition wants to make I don't know what they want to do, but certainly it's not in the interest of Kerala. That's all I can say.
Comrade, when you're in fact giving a blank check to the state administration, which has taken an aggressive stand on the Silver Line project, because the tone and tenor of the state administration is that they will go to any extent to get the approval from the central government, and they are determined to implement the project come what may. And let me point out one more thing. You are saying that the voices of the people will be heard, the grievances of the people will be addressed. But when the people are protesting, when the people are expressing their dissent over this project, the police force is being deployed to silence the people. So how do you take on that?
All I can tell you is the people of Kerala, very recently, I think it is 1 year, not even, just 1 year. Not yet. I think in May it will be 1 year of the Kerala government's election and formation. I think the people of Kerala, when I say the people of Kerala, I mean the people of Kerala. And the LDF government of Kerala is a model for us. I'm here to tell you about the political resolution and our discussions. We have determined today that we are going to take this model of Kerala, alternative policies, pro-people policies, to the rest of the country. And as far as this specific project is concerned, I think the LDF government is there to answer all your queries which you may have. I can only say, as far as the CPIM is concerned, the LDF government and its alternative policies are a model for us.
Yeah, comrade, just comrade here. Yeah, myself. In 2005, in the Delhi Party Congress, history was created when you became the first woman member in the Politburo. And in 2015, organizational plenum held in Kolkata, the plenum stressed the fact that the social composition of the party structure has to be improved. It meant that there should be more women Dalit participation in the party. And it in fact set a target for increasing the women membership. So can we expect, just like in 2005, which was historical, when CPIM got the first woman Politburo member, so can we expect that this 2022 Kannur Political Party Congress will be historical by electing the first woman General Secretary for CPIM?
I think this is a highly relevant question. We are discussing the political resolution. As far as the membership of the party is concerned, women membership, as I have told you, today the political organization report is going to be presented, and we've got an assessment of where we have moved forward and where we are still lagging. So I expect there will be a discussion on this, because quite frankly, unless, from the Central Committee, the Politburo, from the leadership in the states, certain efforts have been made. But how to internalize it at all levels of the party? These are issues which are placed in the report which will be discussed. And all those details will be given to you.
Is there any issue regarding the general? Comrade, normally in CPM, 3 terms are given for the secretary, given from the general secretary to other secretary. So, is there any discussion in the party to change the general secretary this time?
I told you these are highly irrelevant questions. They are not relevant at all to what we are discussing, which is a political resolution.
There is no controversy in the party on that.
There's absolutely no controversy except among those who can't, if you excuse me for saying so, to khana hajam nahi hota hai. Difficult to digest one's food unless one sees there's some controversy. Now, if you are going to have some serious political questions you want me to answer, I'm happy to answer. But irrelevant issues.
No,
which are
you,
issues,
madam, really sorry to say, madam, really sorry to say, comrade, really sorry to say that you are brushing aside some serious questions on gender justice, on delivering social justice. You are brushing aside all these questions are irrelevant. How the questions on women and girls become irrelevant for the party?
This is again a very strange way of putting things. I've spent quite a part of this press conference in telling you what an awful situation it is for women in India today. I have told you some of the important discussions which have been there and the areas of concern. And I have said how important it is for the CPIM itself from its platform to take up these issues. In fact, I had specifically mentioned in my introduction the issues of Adivasis, of Dalits, of attacks on minority rights, and of course on the issues of women. I was responding to a question which concerned an organizational measure which is not part of this press conference, which is discussing the political resolution, not the political organizational report, and therefore those questions are entirely irrelevant and not serious to the discussions right now.
Madam Brunda, day before yesterday, Mr. Sitaram Yechuri, in his inaugural speech, praised China a lot regarding Chinese initiatives to isolate the imperialist positions.
Sorry? About Chinese?
About the Chinese initiative to isolate imperialist positions. Regarding the border tensions and the cross-border attacks, consequently the reports coming from the north and from the northeast, what is Communist Party of India Marxist position regarding the border tension, especially from the Chinese side?
We have already said that on this question, the position taken by the government of India and Parliament, that they are in talks with China and they want to resolve these talks through dialogue. In Parliament and outside Parliament, we have expressed our support to the government stand.
The opposition and left party, the secular opposition in the country as well as the left party have in the last 1 year taken up the agrarian distress issue in a very concrete manner through the farmer struggle, of which the Kisan Sabha was a very important component. But then, as important as the agrarian distress is the distress.
Please put the mic, I think.
As important as the agrarian distress is the distress of unemployment, which is spreading across the country like a pandemic. Does the CPM or the party Congress, has it been able to think in terms of a concrete action plan, just like the farmers' agitation, to address this unemployment issue?
Yes, that has been a very important aspect of the discussions in the party Congress. In fact, we expect that there will be a resolution placed specifically on the whole issue of unemployment. And yes, there are plans which are being made as to how to broaden this movement on the issue of unemployment and all the connected areas of this, including vacancies in government posts. You know, there are so many lakhs of vacancies now in government posts. There are so many states where the exams itself are not being held or being completely sabotaged. And the whole question of the path of development, which is in fact, as we always say, job loss growth, which is what the figures also show. So how to take it in a concrete way? Because there have been many spontaneous struggles, as you saw in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, on the issue of unemployment. So we do have to have a very strong intervention on this. And that was an important issue which came up for discussion. And thank you for raising it in your question. Sorry? No, it's already there. If you kindly look at the Prashantji, you get so many documents, you have not got the document of political resolution. What is this? You please look.
You said you are taking the Kerala model at the national level. Yeah.
Proper, yeah.
Are you specifically mentioning that in the draft?
It's already there.
Yes, you are mentioning that, but will you take
that? It is
that
already there in our document. There's a whole section on the importance of Kerala's alternative vision and policy in spite of all the difficulties which they are facing in terms of centralization of resources by Modi government. So yes, that is part of our campaign, certainly.
But it will,
Okay,
will it
now
be a
I
part
have to
of
go because I've got time. Okay,
But will you include that as a part of the political tactical line, Kerala model? When you form a national...
Sorry? Jomi, you come here and you make that joke and let all those who are doing it live, they can understand the importance of your sense of humor. So thank you very much indeed. Thanks to all.